Welcome. This is my 18th speech for the Ron Paul curriculum, and I'm going to be telling you about my father, who I am really proud of and admire for how hard he has worked to live the life that he has today. My father, John DeMar Shearhart Jr., was born November 8th, 1979 in Parsons, Kansas. Growing up, they didn't have a lot. Some days they just had grape jelly and saltine crackers to eat. He has two brothers, Matthew and Tony, and his mom and dad. When he was 15, his parents divorced, so he went to live with his mom for a short time, and then later went to live with his dad and two brothers. He knew he needed to work, so he got his GED at 15, and then went on to work at Long John Silver's. They lived in an apartment for a while, then decided to run a business of selling gravestones. So they bought a shop, and my dad lived in the shop. He basically ran the business, and he sold gravestones to people. After that, he and his youngest brother lived in a house, and then my dad went on to live at a mission house and at where the church was that he was going to. He became a Christian and decided that he wanted to become a pastor. So he went to Moody Bible Institute in Chicago and began studying. He got his degree and was ready to become a pastor. He met my mother at a summer internship in Springdale, Arkansas, where they did extreme sports camps for low-income housing projects. And so they met each other, fell in love, and after 2 weeks, he proposed to her, and she said yes, of course. They got married and lived in an apartment in Fayetteville, Arkansas. 3 years later, they decided to have me. So he began preaching at a church in Clarendon. It was First Baptist Church of Clarendon. He stayed there with my mother and three other siblings for about 3.5 years. And then they decided that they wanted to move to a bigger church. So they went to a church in Paris, Arkansas. We stayed there for about 2 years, and they didn't really like my dad's preaching. So they let us go, and we lived with my grandparents on my mom's side for about 6 months, and then my dad got a call from a guy down in Alabama saying that he wanted to meet his family and hear him preach. So we drove 10 hours to Alabama to New Grace Baptist Church, and my dad preached, got the job, and he has been here for 9 years, almost 9 years. He is very dedicated to his job, his family. He's very dedicated to support us and himself. I admire him a lot for coming from absolutely nothing to a life now that is incredible. He worked hard to get where he is today. He had nothing handed to him. So that's another reason why white privilege isn't a thing. He didn't have white privilege. It wasn't even a thing. He never had anything handed down to him. It was all him working towards that goal. And now he has a wife and 4 children. And I admire a lot about how he wanted this so bad that he did it, and now he's here today. He deserves so much and all the praise for becoming who he is today. So this is my 18th speech for the Ron Paul curriculum. I hope you enjoyed. Feedback is greatly appreciated.